What's up, beautiful people? It's Hershey Sunday, and I'm back with the scoop. How are you? Baby, I hope that you're doing well because we are about to discuss and review Bridgerton Season 3, Episode 2. Y'all ready? Let's do it. Now, I wrote down some notes because I want to go into order on kind of what happened to do a recap and give my opinions of what all went on. So let's go in order. So, episode 2 of season 3 starts off with Queen Charlotte and Lady Danbury talking amongst themselves about the queen not picking a diamond for the season. Remember previous episode, she viewed some girls but didn't pick no diamond, child. She said, I'm not impressed. So the mothers of the ladies that are making their debut have been sending like gifts and jewels and all that. And the queen is basically like, it's gonna take more to raise my berry, baby, because I'm not impressed. Hold on, I'm a little parched, allergies, sick, refreshing. Let's also briefly discuss that Queen Charlotte has been coming out the woodwork with these hairdos. Now, she always good for old nasty over the top wig, right? Nasty meaning good for those who don't know. But she's doing more of a cultural, like, baby, this wig was giving kinky twists, box braids, a swoop up do. It was giving 90s, old nasty prom do. But from the motherland, it was a whole lot going on, and I was here for it. So the ladies discussed that. Then they switch over to Will and Alice Mondrick, who's just recently moved into Alice's aunt's home. She was Lady Kent. And so because they're the only relatives of Lady Kent who had a son, the son is now the Baron of Kent. And so, honey, they done came up real classy base, real noble like, and they're getting used to, seeing what's going on. They have maids, and the maid is giving them the lay of the land. They have separate bedrooms. They ain't never slept apart like that, and they kind of like, well, we can't sleep together. She was like, this is the way it's done here. So they're getting used to their footing in noble society. The two married Featherton sisters, Dumb and Dumber, Frick and Frack, Phineas and Ferb, honey, they have been with their husbands, but the mama is like, have y'all been hunching? And they're like, oh, yeah, we've been hunching, And so the mama is like, I don't believe it. Y'all need to, what's the word I'm looking for? Not escalate. I guess it is escalate. Basically you need to speed up the hunching because one of y'all or both of y'all need to be pregnant with the son so we can keep all of our things, which I find is super funny, and we'll get into it a little bit later, that they are both airheads and got a man, and they men really do go up for them, and they're just as dumb. So I love that for them. Love is the message. Shout out to Pose. So then we switch over to Colin and his siblings taking a stroll in the park, and he runs into Penelope. So he runs into Penelope, and they talk about like their agreement. Mind you, okay, previous episode, Lady Whistledown, aka Penn, has said a few little snarky remarks against Colin because she felt the way. They had since made up though, but she had wrote that before they made up. So he was like, you sure you still want my help? She was like, oh, Lady Whistledown, I don't know what she's talking about. So he was like, okay, well, let me see you work in action. Like, let me see, how you talk to men. So they stroll up to three gentlemen, and Penn ain't got no game. Penn ain't got no game. Now, as mean and nasty as her pen game is, Penn literally, all pun intended, don't have no game when it comes to the men. She up here just striking out. They go walking. He was like, like when we first met, you was playful, you was this, that, and the third. And you know what the difference was? And she was kind of clutching her pearls inside because she was like, do you know that I love you for real, real bad? And he was like, she said it out loud. That was her inner thoughts. He was like, because we were children and we didn't care about what people thought of us. He was like, when I traveled, nobody knew who I was. I didn't know who they were. And I was able to do whatever I needed to do to become who I am. And now I'm comfortable with myself. So that was that. Lady Danbury was dropping some tea with Lady Bridgerton about how the queen still hasn't, quote unquote, found the diamond or the gem, because she's not necessarily calling the young girl a diamond moving forward, I guess. And so she's like, look, you need to lay a little razzle dazzle on the queen because she's still looking, in order to get her blessing. She just dropping some tea that she had heard from her earlier when they were having a conversation. So then we fast forward to Colin. Oh, I'm sorry. Before we get to that, when Colin and Penelope was talking about the whole, be yourself, da 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 da, he was like, well, when did you last feel comfortable? And so Penn was like, well, I felt comfortable on Sunday afternoons at y'all's house because I didn't have to have a chaperone and I could just be myself. They used to have tea on Sundays. And so he was like, okay, noted. Now, the next scene is Colin, his brothers, and sister playing some card game in the backyard. One of the servants was like, hey, to Colin. Colin goes in, Penelope is there. But her maid servant, because they always got to go somewhere chaperone, is outside. So Colin was like, let's go upstairs. We going to practice. My siblings in the bike, okay? Eloise ain't home. We going to have the little entertainment room all to ourselves, right? Right. So they're finally alone. And Colin is like, okay, just pretend on me. Like, we're at the ball. I'm by the refreshments. Stroll up to me and talk to me like you would if you was interested in me. And so she was like, Big Daddy, the way your eyes be sparkling, especially when you real kind and that deep blue that you got, I'm here for it. It's real fine. She said something to that effect. I didn't write the script, but that's exactly what she said. And he was like befuddled. And it kind of rasped his berry too because, honey, he had to take a little drink. He had to take a sip. He didn't know what to do. All in that suit jacket, getting a little tight and pressed and stuff. I said, ooh, Colin, you like that. You like being talked to. Talk him through it. Anyway, so they was like, he was like, yeah, that was okay. That was cool. That was kind of forward, but it was cool. Anyway, he hears his siblings like footsteps or Eloise, right? Eloise had came home. So back then you really can't be alone with the man that's not your husband or sibling, family member, whatever, unchaperoned, okay? Your reputation to be ruined. So she had to go to his study room, right? So she goes to his study room, kind of hiding out. And so she's tiptoeing by his desk and finds his journal. Now, he's been traveling, as you've seen. He's been fool la line and tootsie rolling with a whole lot of women in all of these cities and countries, honey. I hope they use whatever protection they had there in back in them days. I hope it was sheepskin or something, babies. A barrier, okay? Because he was out there. So he's writing about basically my neck, my bike, and how he caressed this, that, and the third. And she like, ooh, Colin, you can write and I kind of like what you're talking about. So she gets caught. So, because tell me why Colin walked in. He had her scarf because she left it. Walked in and she caught red-handed, right? Got the journal. She's like, I'm so sorry. He like, so you just reading my stuff? You was not supposed to read it, da da da. And she like, I'm sorry. And so he goes over. He accidentally knocks a lamp over, glass lamp. And so he's going to pick it up, cuts his hand, right? She's like, oh my God, let me help you. This, that, and the third. She takes her gloves off, get a little hanky or whatever. And very gingerly, very caressingly, very alluringly, baby, got down, squat down, got her eagle on, and helped that man wrap his arm, not his arm, his hand up, just caressing and folding and caressing. And they looking into each other's eyes. And she like, I'm sorry I read this, but you're a really good writer, da 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 da. And so they had him a moment. You know that sometimes you be caught up in the rapture of love. You look into somebody's eyes and you be like, I wonder how it feel if you slide into the side real quick. That's what happened. So they broke away and they was like, you know what, we'll just see each other later tonight. We'll talk. Because it was a ball later that night, right? So they're getting ready to part ways. She leaves and she runs into Eloise, but they don't say anything. But Eloise didn't like the fact that Penn was there. Now, briefly, what I had failed to mention earlier, I had to look back at my notes, is that Francesca, she's the one who had debuted for the season, right? And Eloise had a conversation about Francesca getting a man. And Francesca is giving me neurospicy vibes. Introvert, neurospicy vibes. Am I right or am I right? She's giving very much like too much stimulation ain't good for her. And that's okay, baby. I'm that way as well. So they had a conversation and she was like, because remember Lady Danbury and then the Queen and Who's the Diamond and all that. Francesca's like, look, I'm down to give me a man and all, but I'm not trying to be the center of attention like that. So Eloise is like, okay, bet I'm going to throw the Queen off of your tracks. I'll tell the ladies they were in the Modiste store or whatever, getting some dresses made. She was like, I'll tell the other girls, like, put on the razzle dazzle. That way it'll take the attention away from you and you can go do what you do. Okay, now we're getting to the evening of the ball. So Colin and Eloise are riding in the car together, right? The little horse and carriage. And so Eloise was like, I saw Penn at the house, and he was like, look, my bad, but I don't even know why y'all not friends, and she's my homegirl, so like, what really happened? And so Eloise is like, we just drifted apart. She still ain't spilling Penn's tea about her being Lady Whistledown and all that stuff, right? So, he was like, "Well, what you want me to do?" And she was like, "Look, be her friend, but maybe not have her at the house." He was like, "Bet." And she was like, "So why are y'all, tootsie rolling and running around in secret passage rooms anyway?" He was like, "I'm trying to help her find a man. She doesn't have any male, family members, so I'm helping." And she was like, "Don't you think that that'll kind of make things awkward because you're an eligible bachelor and you're hanging around her? That's gonna make things look a little suspicious." And he was like, "Bet, you right. So how about we don't say nothing about it? It's a secret, okay? It's Victoria's Secrets." Queen Victoria. Well, Queen Charlotte, technically. Don't say nothing. Don't say Nathaniel. And she was like, "Okay, fine." They get to the ball, right? Let me make sure I'm in pace. They get to the ball. Penn ends up talking to Colin, and Colin is like, "Thanks for helping me with my hand, this, that, and the third." Because she had asked, like, "Is your hand okay?" It was real cute. And so she was like, "Look, I really like your writing. I would love to read more if that's okay." Because, she love a good pen game, baby. She liked them little written words. And he was talking real nasty in there. And she liked that. And he was like, "I'll make a deal with you. You talk to a dude here, I might consider you reading some of my stuff." So she went up to a dude. The first dude she went up to, he was cool at first. She said something like, "Oh, life is too short," and he started crying or whatever. Not crying, but getting emotional, and walked off because his horse had just died. And, back then, horses was like the dogs or whatever. So Colin walks up to her like, "What happened?" She was like, "The horse died." And they start giggling and laughing and whatever, just kikiing. And Eloise, old sour put stuff. I don't like Eloise. It's something about her that rubs me the wrong way. She sees it, and she's standing with Cressida. So Cressida is like peeping, like, what's going on? And Eloise, in irritation and without surveying the parameter of seeing who all eavesdropping, she gonna say some oh da 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 and tell Penn and Colin's business to Cressida. Cressida was like, "Okay, well, it is what it is." And so they move on to like talk to some other young ladies. Okay, we switch over to Will and Alice. So Will and Alice Mondrick, they're the ones whose son is noble now. First of all, can we talk about how fine Will is? Hey, Will. Can we take a moment? Because that's a So we go into Will and Alice. They get to the party and they're uncomfortable. Remember, they're new to this. So Benedict Bridgerton talks to Will, and Will is like, people have been born into nobility. We just coming into the game, like, teach me the game goes. And Benedict is like, "Look, it's rules to all this stuff, but the gag is, it don't really even matter unless until you get married. Once you get married, you can really do what you want to do." Like, he was pointing out couples like this couple always drinking and throwing a bike, and you only supposed to have a drink or two at a ball. This couple is only dancing with each other and tootsie rolling with each other all night, and it's considered rude to only dance with one partner all night. So you can really do what you want because they married. Like, when you marry, the game is yours. So he was like, "Okay, bet." So they could kind of do what they want. Francesca is there. Again, Francesca is giving very much neurospicy and a bit awkward, and it's okay. So Mother Bridgerton is trying to find Francesca. Man, it's a person, I want to say he's a lord or earl, that the queen is real cool with, that, he's trying to introduce himself to her and all that stuff. Now we're getting to the Featherington sisters, okay? I keep forgetting the name, the other P's, okay? So the sisters talk to the mama, and then the mama asks further questions about them hunching. And only one of the girls hunched one time on her wedding night. The other girl ain't hunched at all. She's so dumb, baby. She said, "Well, we just kiss and he makes a sound and he changes his pants." Like, y'all ain't even hunching for real. Y'all up here dry hunching. Like, what are you, 12? Like, what in the world? So the mama is like, "Look, y'all need to be busting it wide open and laying it low, spreading it wide. Our livelihood depends on y'all having some children, specifically some boys. Bust that thing open with your husband and quit playing." Talking about some, I don't. One sister did it once. She was like, "I don't really like." She was like, "Look, Forget all that. Lay there and do what you need to do. So let's see. Okay, bust that thing open. Okay, then we get to Cressida and the other girls. The queen was getting ready to leave. Actually, Lady Denbury, because Francesca was, talking and stuff, and she was like, I'm whatever the queen want to do, I'm down with. Like, I just want to get this done. She trusts the queen's opinion or whatever. So I think Lady Denbury put her in her element. Francesca likes to be alone. Again, neurospicy, introverted. So Francesca is playing a piano. The queen leaves, so all the other girls see the queen leave. They was like, well, shoot, she didn't even see us. One of the girls like, well, do anybody got some tea, some gossip, anything occupy us? Cressida peeped and was like, I don't, and walked off, as she should. And so one of the other girls who actually heard Eloise spill Penn and Colin's tea starts telling the whole group of girls. Then that thing spread like wildfire, because Penn, again, was talking to Colin, and she ended up talking to another young man. He was disabled. They had a good conversation. Colin seeing this, whatever. And so they end up talking back to each other, talking about Penn and Colin. And then all of a sudden look around and like, what is everybody whispering about? So Colin was like, what is y'all whispering about? Which I like the forwardness in him, because very much, what's so funny? So one of the mothers is like, oh, I can't believe that you taking this girl up under your wing and you eligible and she a old spinster. Like, like reading him down in front of her extra loud. So Penelope runs off. She runs away. Colin goes after her. He runs into Eloise. Eloise is like, what's going on? Colin was like, I told your big mouth self not to say nothing. She was like, I didn't mean to. I just told Cressida. Like, he's like, well, why would you tell Cressida, old crusty face? First of all, I'm here for Cressida now, because she ain't even do nothing. She was a sourpuss previously, but she's kind of coming around. I feel for her a little bit. We'll get into that later in the season. But he's like, I don't understand why you cool with Cressida and not Penn anyway. And he goes off to go find Penelope. So the queen ends up walking into the room. Now, again, these are all different scenes. It's a lot happening, so keep up, baby. Keep up, Buttercup. The queen walks in on Francesca playing beautifully on the piano. And she was like, that's what I'm talking about. You care about your own interests. You ain't trying to impress nobody. Baby, you real cool with me. She doubles back. Some would say even you sparkle. And walks off with her wig intact. I love Queen Charlotte. Penn went home to write basically about what happened. She got to spill her own tea because she's Lady Whistledown, so she got to tell it all. And, she ends up spilling her tea, writing the new article. And then Lady Danbury, as she's smoking her black and mild, real classy base with an old nasty scotch, gets a letter that a relative is visiting. So, next day or maybe a day later, Cressida runs into Eloise, right? Now, mind you, Cressida didn't say anything. Eloise goes in on Cressida like, you're so cruel, this, that, and the third, blah, 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 blah. Cressida absorbs all of this and was like, first of all, I didn't spill your tea. It was your fault because you're so indecisive about whether you want to be cool with the girl or not. You didn't even gauge like who was all around. And Lady such and such, I forgot her name, was right there when you was flapping your chops and telling that girl's business. She was basically like, you need to take a look in the mirror because I'll accept that I was cruel in the past, yeah, and I've been trying to be nice to the girl, but you doing too much too. She walks off, as she should. She really handled that. She walks off, and then it shoots over to Penn sitting by the windowsill, just kind of like reminiscent, because now the newsletter from Lady Whistledown, aka Penn, came out, and Penn kind of just went in on herself. Like, really, really, like, girl, she was like, maybe maybe Penn gonna go back to the shadows. It was real sad because Penn is just feeling hopeless, honey. She just trying to get her man. She's just trying to get her man and break free and be herself, and it's hard for her. So Penn's mama goes upstairs like, why would you have such and such help you find a man, da 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 da. And basically, like, her mama cold. Lady Featherington is cold. So she was like trying to like, okay, not having a man ain't all that. Like, I mean, ain't all bad. Like, they kind of do too much and da-da-da. And Penn is just sad. And it's like, the mama wanted to, like, her daughter, but she was like, actually, never mind. And leaves out the room. Then one of Penn's maid servants later that night. Now mind you, baby, it's nighttime. Okay? It's dusk. Penn's house lady or housemaid was like, you got a visitor. She goes downstairs outside, baby, it's calling. He pays the maid to leave so that they could be alone. So he was like, I'm just trying to check on you, woo, woo, woo. And Penn is like, she's breaking down. She's crying. She's like, I feel hopeless, da 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 da. She was like, can I ask you for a favor? Twirling her hair. That's what I would have did with Colin. He was like, what's up? She was like, can you kiss me? And he kind of was like, I mean, but she was like, it don't have to mean anything. It ain't nothing like that. I've never been kissed. I probably will never be kissed. I don't want to die tomorrow and not be kissed because it'll kill me. He was like, well, if you die tomorrow, baby, you going to be dead. She was like, it don't matter. Are you going to kiss me or not? He says, okay, bet. So they gingerly walk up to each other and, you know, he caresses her face and they do a little lips, and then they dive into that thing and start kissing. And it was a fire kiss. It was a really, really fire kiss. And they have a moment, and then she says thank you and runs off into the night. Okay? Bust down middle part in tow. And he feels away. Because, baby, she done ignited something in him. That's what I'm saying. Like, okay, friend today, freaking tomorrow. Like, don't play these oh, we just friends games. Ha! Ha! Baby. Anyway. That's what happened on episode 2, season 3 of Bridgerton. Y'all let me know in the comment section what your favorite parts were. What do you think of the story developing so far? I am so curious. I'm saying I'm curious like I ain't watched the other 3 or 4. But just for the sake of this episode, I'm so curious to know who the relative is. And I'm looking forward to seeing Francesca's love interest or the introduction thereof. Don't forget to like, share, follow, and comment for more content. And go ahead, Tootsie Roll to my link in bio, my sneaky links. Follow me on all platforms. I really love y'all real bad, and I want y'all to be a part of the Scoops family. Again, like, share, follow, comment for more content. And as always, I'm Hershey Sunday, and I'm back with the Scoop. Peace.